So when I was a kid, the first video game anything I ever owned was a Game Boy Advance, and you couldn't tell me nothing, man. And looking back on it now that I'm older, it's pretty crazy to see just how happy certain things made me when I was a child. And I'm pretty sure that's the driving force behind nostalgia, desperately wanting to feel that happy again, like that same feeling you got when you watch your favorite childhood movie for the first time. Anyways, this video is about Star Wars, right? So what the hell am I talking about? Well, with that Game Boy Advance, I got these babies. Before I ever saw any of the movies, this was my introduction to Star Wars. Legos. Lego games to be exact, and probably the worst version of these games, but hey, it was pretty cool at the time. And I say all this to say just how happy and nostalgic Star Wars once made me feel. Even just hearing the iconic music or the sound of a blaster would be enough to make me smile. But nowadays, I don't give a shit. Okay, before anything else, I have a confession to make. Please don't hurt me. I liked the sequel trilogy. No, I'm sorry, please don't hurt me. Well, actually, let me correct myself. I liked the sequel duology. And there's a third movie that I can have fun with if I turn my brain off, because if I don't do that, it will piss me off to no end. Or at least it would have when I care.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So yes, I liked The Force Awakens. I actually really liked The Last Jedi. I think that's the best out of the three by far. And I hated The Rise of Skywalker with a passion. But at the time, I literally just tried not to think about it. The problems I have with that movie can make a whole video by itself, so I'm gonna restrain myself for now. So unlike many Star Wars fans, for a long time I actually didn't have a negative view of Disney Star Wars. In fact, even now I would still say most of the Disney Star Wars content I consumed I did enjoy, even if it is the case that I'm really indifferent towards a lot of it now. Also, here's another potentially unpopular opinion which could get me crucified. I really don't think that George Lucas's original idea for a sequel trilogy would be all that better, honestly. I've heard people say before that the sequel trilogy feels like fan fiction, and honestly, I get that, but I also think that the proposed George Lucas sequel trilogy also reads like fan fiction. That's just me. I'm not shitting on you if you do like his idea better, you know. I mean, in general, I totally understand not liking the sequel trilogy, so I really can't put my finger on when, but at a certain point, I just stopped caring about Star Wars. I don't know. There just came a point when I didn't care and I stopped paying attention to the new announcements, when I stopped caring that a new trailer came out. I'm being completely honest right now. I did not know the third season of The Mandalorian came out until I saw its Lego sets in Target. And I still had hope. I thought the only Star Wars venture that still had any future at all was the video games. And now I can't even say that anymore.
What is that thing?
So for me, where did everything go wrong? I mean, the quality of the projects is certainly a factor, but I think there's something even worse than that. There's too much shit. Way too much. So before Disney bought Star Wars, there were 6 mainline films. And then we have 4 TV shows, 2 of which were pretty much lost media until recently. 1 was barely long enough to even be a show. And 1 was a regular old animated series, which was pretty good. Oh, I also forgot the really bad movie that started the whole show. I like to pretend that doesn't exist. So we add all that up and we got 13 projects, 9 movies, 4 shows. And then in what was certainly not a coincidence, in 2012, the year the world was supposed to end, Disney bought Star Wars. And since then there have been 5 movies, a trilogy and 2 spin-offs. So that's not that much, right? Well, as for TV shows, if I'm including the continuation of the pre-Disney Clone Wars series, we have 14 shows total, and there is no end in sight. In 10 years from now, that number might be 50, who knows? Seeing and hearing the iconography of Star Wars used to have so much meaning for me. It used to feel magical, and now there's so much, it's just become mind-numbing. You know, a common criticism of the Marvel movies, it always kind of felt like you had to watch other movies as homework so you could watch the movie you actually wanted to see. Well, whatever they're building up to with these connected Star Wars shows, imagine that, but instead of movies, you have to watch multiple seasons of different TV shows just to understand what the hell is going on. If you were paying attention when stuff was coming out, you had a better idea of what you needed to do. But somebody who's brand new to Star Wars, how are they supposed to know they need to watch the Book of Boba Fett before they can continue watching The Mandalorian on to season 3? It really doesn't make any sense. I'm honestly kind of surprised they've been getting away with this because, dude, like, the average normie does not know who Thrawn is. I barely know who Thrawn is because I really haven't read a lot of Legends material and I also have not watched Rebels. I'm sorry, it's too kiddie and it looks like shit. I tried multiple times. I can't do it. And now they have Ezra in here like I'm supposed to care. Like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't care.
I knew I could count on you.
Boy, if you don't.
Do you have any idea how many Star Wars fans are just like 50-year-old men who are not gonna watch a cartoon? I'm not watching this to understand this. I'm just not. I haven't been given a reason to care. Why should I? We already know where all this leads to, and most of these shows are not far enough away from the timeline of the movies to be disconnected from them. Episodes 1 through 9, like it or not, was a complete story. I really don't need to know what every single character was doing when they were off screen. I really don't need to hear more details about Snoke clones. The Mandalorian was super self-contained, and it was great. And then season 2 came along, which I still think is great, by the way, but it definitely took the show in a whole new direction. And by the end of it, I feel like I can't even be focused on the two main characters I'm supposed to care about because of Luke and Ahsoka and Bill Burr. What? And like I said, I haven't seen season 3, but since we had to watch Book of Boba Fett to continue that story, I'm gonna imagine it's more of the same. 10 years ago, if a new Star Wars show was announced, that would have meant something. Comparing that to present day is crazy, because nowadays a new show is announced multiple times a year. And I look at those announcements and I'm just like, okay, why should I care? What in the world is a skeleton crew, and who let this guy out of the palace? And I somehow still have not mentioned the whole cluster that was the behind the scenes of the entire sequel trilogy. How they had no plan for the story at all. They just gave it to JJ and then gave it to Rian Johnson, and a lot of people didn't like what he did with it, so then they gave it back to JJ, and then JJ spent at least 30% of episode 9 undoing everything Rian Johnson did. And what we are left with is a sad excuse for a trilogy. That watching back to back feels like watching your divorced parents fight over who's gonna get you for Christmas this year. Here you go, here's Captain Phasma. No, I don't like that. Let's kill her. Here's a new main character, Rose. Well, actually, now she has 2 lines of dialogue. We killed off the new Emperor character, and now Kylo Ren will be the main villain. I want her to be the one who brings back the magical nature of the Force. It shouldn't have to do with bloodlines or anything like that. She's a Palpatine now, and that's how she's so OP. Oh, and also, somehow Palpatine returned, and he was behind the fake Palpatine the whole time. And this also means that Anakin's sacrifice and turn back to the light side now means nothing. And you know I said she's a Palpatine, right? Well, now she's a Skywalker. Why? Well, because she said so. She can't be her own character, she has to be tied to characters of the past. So she chose the cooler one from the past instead. This plot is fucking ridiculous, actually. So in conclusion, I'll tell you what I told you at the start of this video, which is just that I don't care about Star Wars.